Today I'd like to talk about planned project management, resolving communication struggles with project management software. So the communication struggles that I feel have affected the company the most is that we set most of our communication and priority shifting for our projects in a morning 9 a.m. meeting. Let's talk about the separate pieces of the company that are all trying to communicate. First, there's Prestige, which is the company that is the face of the software. The software itself is called Prestige. They do the sales and customer service. Then there's Bene's Career Academy, which is the home site for Prestige. They're the testing grounds for the software. Then finally, there's Orban Software, which does the software development and management for Prestige. They work on all the back end and the development of the program. These three pieces are constantly communicating. Bene's Career Academy can be replaced by any one of our 60 customers as well, while they all communicate with Prestige for the issues that they're having. And Prestige interacts with Orban to try to get those issues to Orban, and has a fairly significant say about what the priorities are for Orban software, which can actually be distracting when it comes to working on system critical pieces of Prestige software. There are 8 members of the Prestige customer service team and 3 software developers for programming and backend. They meet for that previously mentioned 9 a.m. meeting. This is the sole form of communication for what's happening with the software programming. It's pretty good. Bangladesh drops off its night shift, and it's the day shift in the USA actually picks up where they left off. And the USA does have some minor developer capabilities, but the majority of the development is happening in Bangladesh. So USA normally spends this time giving what they believe to be the best priorities are for Bangladesh. And there's a couple limits to this. One, its scalability does not increase with development size and with client size. Right now, there's actually only about 4 members of that morning meeting for communication. That can't continue growing. A manager is able to speak to all of the members of the Bangladesh programming team. But when the development goals get larger, that communication will start to break down. Prestige is also going to require some improved communication between teams about project goals. For example, Prestige is often firefighting, but that won't be able to happen for the entirety of the development cycle. And telling the development team in Bangladesh about fires to put out is not always going to work. That brings us to better prioritization of project goals to meet client expectations. That better prioritization can happen with project management software. The big problem here is that Prestige does not utilize project management software like Microsoft Project pictured here to make goals and timelines clear to developers. Let's look at the communication problem: languages, time, and distance. Here we have that morning meeting we described. There's a lot of barriers here. For example, language. The English to Bangladesh translation is just one of the barriers that are encountered, as well as the physical context of time, that they're several hours ahead of us. In addition, their managers in the United States with us and can only communicate at the same key times that we do. So there are some limitations here. There's a big communication bottle cap between Dave and Arif, who are trying to communicate to Hassan and Ratna only have limitations to what they're able to complete. So all the communication about what should be done happening in the morning is not as good as project management software. So projects are unique operations that have a limited time set which can be tracked individually. Here we see different small projects with start and end dates. These all have timelines and schedules. These projects also have future completion times and itineraries, which gives a sort of future sight as to what can be done in a given period of time. So rather than firefighting communication, this kind of communication sets in stone, this is what's important. This is what Bangladesh should be working on. There's some key success factors here. It's going to take time and energy investment. It's going to take a paradigm shift, and it's going to take a willingness, because whenever project management software is used, it's used daily. So a daily use of project management software, however, similar to the daily meeting, cuts out a communication, cuts through language barriers, and makes it very clear what is needed from the software. And it plans it out weeks to months in advance. And there's great alternatives. There's Microsoft Project, which is sort of the king of project management software because it's created by Microsoft. You could say king company, if you will. But if you're looking for something freer than that, there's always Open Project, which is a free version. And it's open source, which means it's created by different developers which do it for free. There are different options available as well if management is particularly interested in shopping around. There's also some strategic side options here. You could always try prototyping, which is very similar to what we currently do. And there is Scrum, which is very similar to what Dave's favorite management style is, with sticky notes, moving them across the board from to do to done. The benefits are increased understanding of priority, developers' reference material, reduced anxiety from project start to end, or by giving time, project start and end times. But there's risks such as the initial investment of time. Instead of firefighting, it reduces agility, the ability to move around between projects, and it takes constant management to work effectively. My final recommendation, though, is to try Open Project, which is free, easy to try, works very similarly to Microsoft Project, and that'll give management an opportunity to look and attempt a project management software and hopefully focus a little bit of what they want done and improve their communication.